welcome back to another episode of 3 Minute Thursday. I forgot my hat, hold on just 1 second. And that, my friends, was almost a crucial mistake because nobody wants to see the bald head. In the last episode, we talked about the experience of a real estate agent. Today, we're gonna talk about the negotiation skills. Negotiation skills? The negotiating skills of a real estate agent. So right off the bat, before we even talk about the negotiating skills an agent has, let's quickly identify who the agent will be negotiating with. The first person an agent will negotiate with is either their buyer client or their seller client. So before you sign any paperwork, there will be a few items that an agent will negotiate with you, their seller, or their buyer. Number one is going to be the fees and commissions, which everybody thinks about. Number two is going to be the length of the contract. And then number three is really going to be the list price of the home. There are other factors in which you can negotiate, but those are typically the top three things that somebody thinks about. Second set of people an agent will negotiate with is either the agent who represents the seller if you're buying a home, or the agent who represents the buyer if you're selling your home. Now, what do they negotiate? The agents will typically negotiate the contract price, the length of the contract, when the home will close, any contingencies or terms, anything that's included or excluded, earnest money that they put down to take the home off the market, closing date, and there's a ton of other things. The beautiful thing about real estate is that just about anything can be negotiated. So the big question is then, do all real estate agents negotiate in the same way?
I killed my sale!
That's when I blow it. That's when people like us have got to forge ahead, Helen. Am I right?
God, you're sick. Tell you what, I'll go turn the fryers back on and throw some wings in for you.
Hey, thanks, Helen.
Tell me likey. Tell me want wingy.
And if they don't, is there a style or are there different factors that are best benefited for negotiating real estate deals?
Lose! I don't lose! I win! I win! I'm a lawyer! That's my job! That's what I do!
Well, I'm glad you asked that because that's exactly what we're gonna dive into today. Well, there are 6 different factors when negotiating. Factor number 1 is negotiating style. Now, this really isn't a strategy, but it's really more like a personality that an agent will have. So there are really 5 different styles of a negotiator. Style number 1, and we're not gonna dive into each one of these, we're just gonna go through them, and then you can pick out what you feel your negotiating style would be and how you would mesh with the agent that you decide to hire. So number 1 is going to be a competitive style. Number 2 is going to be problem-solving style. Number 3 is compromising. Number 4, accommodating. And then number 5, conflict avoiding style. Each one of these styles have their pros and their cons, and you just have to determine which one you feel would be best fit for your style and for your needs. Factor number 2 are goals and expectations. So as a buyer or seller, defining your goals and expectations is crucial to go over with your agent, and it's actually very beneficial to get in writing as well. That way nothing is left to the imagination or to assumption. If you share this information with your agent up front, your agent can then have a realistic conversation with you about the list price of your home, how to market the home, and how to show the home if an open house makes sense. That's why it's important to share your goals and your expectations right up front. Okay, moving on to factor number 3, authoritative standards and norms. What?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
I didn't really even know what that meant until I studied this more in depth, and it does make sense once you grasp it. So I'll just read this, right? So these are standards and norms that are typically accepted by all parties in a negotiation as fact. So an example of this in real estate would be the condition of the market that will determine prices of homes, okay? So for example, if it's a seller's market, which we're currently in 2022, since it's a seller's market, agents out there understand the standard and norm is going to be multiple offers on homes, very few contingencies, if any, and that the seller is really in the driver's seat. So when we go back to last week's episode of experience that an agent has, the more experience your agent has, the more deals they've done, the more in tune with the market, the standards and norms that they will be. Factor number 4, relationships. Agents need to have a professional working relationship with the other party in order to communicate effectively with both sides, in order to collaborate on a deal that works. Again, this really goes back to the amount of experience that your agent has. If they've only done 1 or 2 deals, 10 deals, a handful of deals, they're not really going to have a strong working relationship with the other agent just simply because they haven't done enough deals or met enough agents. The more deals that an agent has done, typically the better relationship they hopefully will have with the other side, especially if they are above board and they collaborate and they work well with other agents.
What are you saying, that you are incapable of lying?
That's right! I am incapable of lying!
So find out how many deals your agent has done, and that will have a really good determining factor on what type of relationship they will have within the industry. Factor number 5, the other party's interests or the other party's goals. Finding common ground in a negotiation is vitally important in order to create a situation in which a deal gets done, okay? And the only way to do that is really to understand the other party's goals and their interests. So a good agent will reach out to the other party, the other agent, and really dig deep with questions and ask, hey, what's important to your client? What do they want? What don't they want?
What do you want? What do you want?
It's not that simple.
What do you want? What do you want?
They'll try to gather as much information as possible in order to benefit you and to aid them in any negotiation that comes up. So if we can identify areas that everyone agrees on, when we find spots in the negotiation that not everybody does agree on, it'll be easier to overcome that and help create a successful negotiation. Last but not least, number 6, leverage. And leverage is going to be the number 1 thing that everybody thinks of when negotiating. Even though the party with nothing to lose is in the driver's seat and has the most power, if you will, in a negotiation, a good agent will increase whatever negotiating leverage they may have by doing their due diligence, planning, preparing, and thoroughly understanding all the needs and goals of both sides of the transaction.
Wow. Wow, 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 wow.
That is a lot of information. That's it. That's my extended 3-Minute Thursday for this week. I hope it helped you out. I hope you learned something. I hope you can use it in your next real estate deal. And if you'd be so kind, hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't done so already, get notified, and share it with a family member, a friend, a relative, a loved one, whoever you think will benefit from this. And that's it. And with that, I am out.